We'll now start with the call, and our very first coach is from Alabama A&M University, James Spady, and the Bulldogs defeated Tuskegee University this past weekend. This Saturday, they'll have a 2:30 kickoff in Birmingham facing UAB. Good morning, Coach Spady. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yes, Coach, if you could talk about your victory on the Tuskegee and talk about travel as you'll face another game inside the state with UAB.
Well, that travel theme is going to be a common theme throughout the season. We're going to have to be road warriors, and we're prepared for that. We talked about it all summer long, and it's just something that we're going to have to embrace. Try to make every stadium our home stadium, at least from our vantage point. Doesn't get any easier. We're taking on a Division I team in UAB, and watching them on film is a pretty good football team. So we got our work cut out for us. We've got to play fundamentally sound, got to make fewer errors than we did last week, and we've got to play a lot harder than we did last week. Last week's game, we'll take a win any way it comes, so we're very happy about that. Last week's win showed that this team has a little fight and a little resilience. What we're going to have to do is be a better fundamentally sound football team, and so that's what we're working on. We're working on that this week. So that whoever we take on, we'll be able to compete because we are relying on those. We are relying on the things that allow the football player, and that's the message.
All right, the floor is now open for James Spady, head of Alabama A&M. Please remember to use the command *6 to unmute your phone. Coach, if you will, talk about the conditions out there at Tuskegee and, of course, opening up in Orlando, sunny Orlando, Florida. That's back-to-back conditions with extreme warm climates, if you will.
You bet. 2 weeks in a row we've had to deal with some pretty hot temperatures, and not just hot, but also very humid. I tell you, the conditioning of our football team has impressed me. We had some guys cramp up week 1, and this week we didn't have any major issues. Some guys that didn't hydrate well enough, but we didn't have any major issues, and I'm knocking on wood, and I'm very thankful for the fact that these guys took very seriously their off-season conditioning, and so far we're holding up really well in tough, adverse conditions.
Talking things over with Alabama A&M head football coach James Spady. Questions? Coach, what do you know about this UAB team here in Birmingham?
A little bit. I think they're Conference USA. It used to be that I didn't know what conference, and I'm depending solely on what I'm reading. So I'll be very honest with you. I think they're Conference USA. I know that they're going to have the kind of guys that we would like to recruit. I'm talking about big guys who can run. I know that on both sides of the ball, they've got really good transfers that they've been able to incorporate into their system. What we've seen from them on offense is, they put up a bunch of yards on I think it was about 500 and change on Mississippi State, who is an SEC opponent. No matter whether you're at the top or the bottom of the SEC, they should be better than Conference USA. And so the fact that they competed with them right until the end of the game and were able to put up so many yards and so many points, it's kind of a very intimidating thing. On defense, they like to base out of an odd front, which is somewhat unique. We haven't faced that to this point this season, and this will be really good. We got to tailor our schemes to what they do and try to get our guys up on second-level defenders and really try to establish the run to have any success. They're going to be a little bit better than us up front. They're going to be we're going to match up really well, I think, in the skill positions. So our up front guys on both sides of the ball have to be technically sound and have to play harder.
Coach Darrell, I noticed in the game that you are using Tevin McKenzie and Octavius Miles. They both combined for 9 catches for total. What have you talked to your wide receivers? You know, you want to kind of use them more in the offensive scheme, because I know everyone wants to look at Monte Smith.
Well, what we've done, our quarterbacks are really doing a good job right now of reading the coverages, and we want to be a take what you give us offense. And so if that means that, 10 receivers get receptions in a game or one receiver gets 10 receptions in a game, it makes no difference to us, just as long as we get that production. And so far we've spread the ball around really well. If people want to key on Montarius, then Tevin has to make plays. If people want to key on Tevin and Montarius, then Octavius has to make plays. And if they want to key on those three, then Dorsey and my tight ends have to make plays. And so it doesn't matter who gets the touches. It matters just who's being effective and whether or not we're able to spread the ball around, if you will.
James Spady for Alabama A&M. Still about 3 minutes left in this segment for questions. Coach, you exchanged scores early in the first quarter, 14-10. How important was the second and third quarter for you guys defensively to hold them scoreless?
Well, we told our guys at halftime, we were ahead going in the locker room, and we told them at halftime that, if you do a good job and win the second half, don't look at the scoreboard, just keep playing and win the second half, then we're going to win the football game. And our plan got derailed immediately with the opening kickoff getting fumbled. So what we had initially planned to do, we had to back off of to a certain extent. And we had our backs against the wall playing defense right there at the beginning of the third quarter. And, you go back to the sideline and you readjust and you say, hey, look, here's the deal. And what we have to do now is we have to play a little bit from behind and still win the second half. And our guys responded. I mean, we had, by no means was it a perfect game, but since it was a W, we'll take it. And we're going to learn from the mistakes and try to get better week to week.
Coach, I noticed your rushing defense did a tremendous job against Tuskegee, allowing them no rushing touchdowns. What did Coach Johnson talk to his defense about?
Just that we've got to be able to stop the run and make people throw the ball on us to win. And they had some things. There's some coverage things that weren't perfect. There's some things that we got to work out in the secondary. Some of our young players have to learn where they're supposed to be. But that's going to be the basis of our philosophy. As long as I'm the head coach here, we're going to stop the run and make people have to go the long way to beat us. And that's what he talked about. At halftime, we felt like we could take the fight to their offensive front. And in the first half, we were able to do that. Towards the end of the second half, they started airing it out. And now we got to do a better job now of getting a good pass rush and without having to blitz every time. And so that's going to be the main focus this week, to try to work on getting a pass rush without leaving ourselves vulnerable because we had to blitz.
James Spady, head football coach at Alabama A&M. Coach Spady, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's James Spady, head coach at Alabama A&M, and his team defeated Tuskegee University this past Saturday. They will face the University of Alabama, Birmingham, in Birmingham at Legion Field. Is set for 2:30. Next up, we go to Montgomery and talk things over with Alabama State head football coach Reggie Barlow. His team defeated Tennessee State, 14th ranked team in the country, 27-21 this past Saturday. They will host Mississippi Valley State this coming Saturday. before kickoff that is set for 5 p.m. Good morning, Coach Barlow. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Morning, Coach. If you would talk about that victory over Tennessee State and preview the Delta Devils this coming Saturday.
Well, this weekend's game was it was an exciting game for us. We really exciting week. We had a bunch of stuff going on here for the inauguration of our new president, and so it was a busy week for us here, and obviously we wanted to end it Saturday with the win against Tennessee State. We knew we had our work cut out for them, a team that was ranked really high in FCS football, and team that has a lot of history and tradition, a lot of really good football players there. And game started, I thought our defense was very combative and did a really good job for us early on, stopping the run. Offensively, we still sputtered, but we found a way to get a touchdown or two. I think the blocked field goal by Darius Washington gave us an opportunity to scoop and score Najee Bright, and we were able to get a touchdown, get on the board. And but just like we told our team, obviously they're a good team. We knew they would fight back, and they did. I mean, they fought us to the bitter end, and but at the end we were able to come up with a play to get the victory. This week we got Valley, Coach Comegey. We've always had a bunch of respect for Coach Comegey and his teams, the mindset. They're always a tough group, play well, run the ball well, a good physical group. And I know he's taking that mentality to Mississippi Valley. And we know it's going to be another tough weekend. I mean, this is SWAC play, and with the parity within our conference, and everybody has an opportunity to kind of recruit the same guys, and it'll be a tough game. And we just try to get some guys that are banged up back healthy, and get ready for Valley.
Reggie Barlow, head coach at Alabama State. The floor is now open.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. With this game coming in with the independent, no doubt that Tennessee State had a reputation of excellence on the football field, and of course they were rated high to start the season. What did you discover about your team with this victory?
Well, our team, it's everybody kind of like their own team. I think our guys, I liked our team. We had a really tough game against Sam Houston State. I thought our guys fought in that game to try to overcome and make it a game. And then against Tennessee State, I mean, we talked about the tradition and the history there and what a great program it is. And they're a good team. But I think it showed us and our guys that if you don't look at the scoreboard, if you just compete and play and one snap and clear after every play, and just trust what you've been taught in coaching from our coaches, then anything can happen. So we were just happy to have an opportunity to play against a great team and to get the victory.
Floor still open for Alabama State head football coach Reggie Barlow.
Coach Barlow, good morning to you. Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting.
Good morning.
You've coached against Rick Comegey before when he was at Jackson State. Can you talk about when you go into matchups against him and his type teams, what to expect?
Well, the things that Coach Comegey, and I just admire him and have a lot of respect for him because, the guy's a winner. He's always had really good, tough football teams, guys that understand how to play the game, and they're not gonna make a lot of mistakes. They're gonna be well coached, and just the mentality. I think he has guys that are tough-minded and play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Guys that are really committed to just being physical on defense, and then, of course, being able to establish the run on offense. I think those are quality things that Coach Comegey teams normally bring.
Oftentimes it's been said that teams make the biggest jump during the season from week 1 to week 2. Would that hold true for what happened with your team this past weekend?
Yes, I would say so for most players. We had one or two of them that went back the other way, but there is some great improvement. We still have a long ways to go. I think just breaking that shield of game, the anxiety, the adrenaline, getting into game shape. I mean, you can condition on stuff all you want during camp, but the best way to get in game shape is to play games. And I think our guys were in better shape this game than we were in the first one. But still a long ways to go. There are so many things that we really, really have to get better at in all three phases. And we're looking forward to doing that starting tomorrow night when we practice.
Coach, I had a chance to speak with Isaiah Crowell after the game in Pittsburgh here yesterday, and he had a pretty good game, 2 touchdowns. Are you surprised at the level of play and at his success so early on?
I can't say I'm surprised. In the whole draft process and all that stuff, I've had conversations with, a lot of folks, NFL people, and I just thought Crowell was probably, from a skill set, probably in the top 5 of the running backs. Obviously he didn't get drafted, but I know he can play football. To play in that league, you got to be able to run in between the tackles. You got to understand protections, and if you can catch it out of the backfield and run for power, then you're going to have a good chance to be a solid player. And I think he's showing that because he has those skill sets. And he and I had been texting here this morning about the game and some of the other things that you got to do to sustain what he's doing. So obviously we're proud of him, and hopefully he'll keep it up.
Got about 2 minutes left in the segment with Reggie Barlow, head coach at Alabama State. Coach, most are aware what Malcolm Cyrus is capable of doing. Talk about the play of Khalid Thomas and the spark that he gave you, and what kind of impact can he potentially provide throughout the season?
Yeah, I'm really proud of Khalid. He's a freshman kid that signed with Kentucky out of high school. Well, he's a sophomore now, but transfer here, has an older brother. He's really matured, and the issues we had with him early on, he wasn't as mature as we've liked him to be, and he's grown mentally, and he's stepped up to the challenge of being the backup to Malcolm and being our punt returner. And he's a young man that he's a very elusive runner, and we're expecting him to have a big year for us this year as he continue to learn our system and as he continue to get stronger. And but he's doing some good things for us right now.
It's Reggie Barlow, our coach at Alabama State. Coach, we appreciate your time.
Right on. Thanks.
Reggie Barlow, head football coach at Alabama State University. He defeated Tennessee State this past Saturday and will play host to Mississippi Valley State this coming Saturday for a 5 p.m. kickoff in Montgomery. Next up on the call is Harold Jackson, head football coach at Jackson State University. His team defeated Virginia Lynchburg by a final score of 59-0. This week, they'll travel to Nashville and face Tennessee State, 6 p.m. kickoff. Good morning. Coach Jackson, are you with us?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Just fine, Coach. Thank you. If you could talk about your victory over Lynchburg and preview your road trip to Tennessee State.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a ball game this past weekend. I guess every coach would love to have a ball game like that, but I was just glad to able to get as many kids as we could on the football field, So, Virginia Lynchburg, they had 2 long road trips, and I don't wish that on anyone. 16 hours on a bus ride, and then on the way here, I guess when they was going to Alcorn, the bus broke down. So it took a toll on those young kids, So when you travel like that, and we got out, and a lot of things that happened in the ball game, and fortunate. On our side, we was able to get a lot of kids on the field, a lot of experience, got a chance to play. We let our first team go out there and they played maybe the first quarter and a half, and I got them off the field and let the other guys get a chance to go out there and play a little bit so they can get a little bit more, little bit of experience when we gonna really need them. I tell you, I just, felt bad for Virginia Lynchburg. We got to the point where the last 2 quarters, the second half, we went to 12-minute quarters, and then after the last quarter, we just had a running clock. So, like I said, the thing that I wanted to do is get out of that ball game healthy, and that's what we did. We got out of it healthy because this is a big week for us. We're getting ready to play a very good football team, so we want to be able to be healthy and be able to go and make the challenge with this team. And like I said, this past week, we stayed healthy pretty much. And the thing that we wanted to do in this ball game, we wanted to work in our red zone because the first ball game against Florida A&M, we was in the red zone probably for about 5 or 6 times and come out with 3 points, and 3 points will get you beat if you don't get those 7. Those 7's what win ball games for us. So we worked on that pretty good. We was down in the red zone this past week. We was 2 for 2, and one other phase that I got to really work on is our third down situation. Third down, I think we was 1 for 8 in the third down situation, so we got to really work on that. We rushed the ball for about 162 yards, and we passed it for about 275. Our quarterback had a pretty good game, and I think we ended up with a total offense of about 430 yards. We had 2 interceptions, and one went back for a touchdown. And coming up this week is we got, like I said, Tennessee State. Tennessee State is a very good football team. I think they lost to Tennessee State last year. Jackson State did. And we got to be really prepared this week. And I told our guys this week after the game, I told them we got to really get ready to go because, like I said, this is a very good football team. You played them last year, and you lost to them. We got to really get the chance to really go out and then, play our type ball game, a mistake-free football, and that's the thing that I want to do is try to play a mistake-free football. If we do that, we got a good chance of winning the ball games. Like I said, this past week, we had some penalties, and we just got to avoid those penalties at crucial times in the ball game. Every penalty is crucial, but there are certain times that you're making those penalties that you really hate at the time that you're making them.
Questions now for Harold Jackson, head coach at Jackson State University. Coach, any advantages to seeing actually a team on video that will pair teams that you'll see twice? You'll eventually have to face Alabama State and have them on Tennessee State playing Alabama State. Any advantages to that?
Well, I tell you, like there's always some advantage when you can really see the team that you are playing. Like I said, we really don't have any video film work on Tennessee State, and just this week, this is ball game that we got coming up where we get a chance to really see what Tennessee is all about. Like I said, I guess Tennessee State's saying the same thing about us. They don't really know because we're a new staff, and they don't really have a whole lot of information and a whole lot of footage to see on us. But I think what they will look at is where we came from, where the coaches came from, and kind of go back and get a feel there. But other than that, we would look at the film. We'll break the film down on Alabama State and Tennessee State. We'll look at that film. As a matter of fact, the coaches are breaking that down now.
Hey, Coach Jackson, I see Morale Pine Bluff commercial. What has been the common denominator in you guys' play this season?
Well, I tell you, the key is, like I said, I really feel good with my coaches. My coaches have done a great job for us preparing these young guys, and they're bought in, and they're bought in what we are trying to get done, and that's the whole key. And if we can just stay healthy, I think we'll be fine if we can stay healthy. And my biggest thing is that, like I said, when I first got here, was my offense and my defensive line, and with the depth-wise where we're there, so I just got to keep those guys healthy as much as possible, because if we lose one or two of those guys there, we could be in serious trouble. So we just got to make sure we keep those guys on the football field and keep them healthy.
Coach Jackson, Donald Weirwood from the press box to press row. What do you remember when you're playing days at Jackson State? Did you all play Tennessee State? What do you remember?
Well, I'll tell you what, back during the days when I was here, I didn't play Tennessee State when I played here. I guess we was very fortunate we didn't have to meet them, because Tennessee State at that time, they're almost just like they are now, a very good football team. They're well coached, they're well disciplined, and when they go out and play football, they have fun, and that's the thing that we try to do here when we go out on the football field. Like I tell my guys, we're going to go out and have some fun when we're out there playing, and go out and execute and get the job done. But I was very fortunate that didn't have to play against Tennessee State when I was here at Jackson State. I think Jackson started playing Tennessee State right after I left here.
How familiar are you with the rivalry with the whole Southern Heritage class?
Well, like I said, this would be my first rodeo at it, because like I said, I hadn't really been around it. Like I said, during the football season, when they having these classes and things, I'm normally someplace working. If I wasn't in the pros playing, or when I came out of the game as a player, I went right into coaching. So I never had the opportunity to go to this classic, but this would be my first time. But I heard a lot about it, and I can't wait to get involved with it.
Thank you, Coach.
We still have about 2 minutes left in the segment with Jackson State head coach Darrell Jackson. Coach, talk about your quarterback play with Ivy here. Week 2 seems as if he's getting a little bit more comfortable as the weeks go along.
Well, I tell you what, that's the most important thing, is getting some playing time, especially against your opponents. Against the opponents. Ivy, he's still a freshman, and because last year he got hurt in the first game of the season, so he really didn't get a chance to really play. And I tell you what, each week he's getting better. He's standing in the pocket. He's a big guy. Every time I look at him, I think about Steve McNair, the former Steve McNair. I say he almost like the same type body style. He throws the ball almost same way Steve McNair used to throw it, and so I think each week he's going to get better. He got some pretty good targets to throw the ball to, and he's working hard at trying to get better, and like I told him the other day, he's the leader of this football team, and then I kind of compare him, I kind of push him to the same mold of a Drew Brees and a Peyton Manning to take control of his football team and get these guys to playing.
Do you have any more questions for Harold Jackson? Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next Monday.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Jackson State head football coach Harold Jackson. Again, his defeated Virginia Lynchburg a week ago this Saturday. They will travel to Tennessee State for a 6 p.m. kickoff. Next up on the call, we go to Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Head coach Monte Coleman. His team defeated Concordia College 31-0 in week 3. Pine Bluff has a bye week. Good morning, Coach Coleman. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. We'll talk about your victory over Concordia and give us a preview of what you guys do over the bye week.
Well, it was a great victory for us here. First home opener. We played a very good Concordia team. We were able to come out ahead on that. We achieved some goals that we wanted to achieve. Most of all, I saw improvement from week one as far as our effort on the field. Guys flew around on defense. Guys made plays on offense and special teams. We had a block punt. I had a nice return, punt return. So there was a lot of improvement against a Concordia team. This week, of course, we've got a bye week in preparation for Alabama State on Thursday night, ESPNU on Thursday the following week. So we will work this week in preparation for them and just get some extra time, give the kids a little off time later in the week to get rested up for next week. But we're excited about where we are. We still made some mistakes in this game. I had way too many penalties in this game, but overall, we're very glad to come out of it with a victory in front of our home crowd.
Monte Coleman, the floor is now open for head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff, Monte Coleman.
Hey, Coach, I see here. Hey, how you doing? You were telling me yesterday that you guys might be conference ready come Thursday. How do you come to estimate that Thursday you guys will be ready for conference play?
No, I'm not sure I understand your question, I see.
Okay, remember after Saturday's game I asked if you guys were ready for conference play, and then you said we should be ready by Thursday.
Thursday of next week, not this week.
The Thursday next week.
Yeah, no,
okay.
We'll start preparing. Of course, we take it one game at a time, and we didn't do anything in preparation for Alabama State last week. Everything that we did was in preparation for our last game, Concordia. And this week we do have some extra time, which we will work this week for the most part. And then, of course, next week we'll work toward Alabama State. So by the time Thursday come up next week, game week, we should be ready to play a game against Alabama State. We will prepare for them from a film standpoint and also from an on-the-field practice standpoint. So we're preparing ourselves right now for Alabama State and for conference, because from here on out we don't have any more non-conference game. Everything is going to be conference games, but we are taking them one game at a time.
Was there anything by your design that your last 9 games of the season could be conference?
No, not really. My preference is to play early games, non-conference early games, to kind of get us tuned up. Back before my tenure as a head coach, we used to play we used to play conference games, our first and second game, and we didn't fare too well. Just the ability to play a non-conference game, to get all the kinks out, and before you get into conference play, that's my preference. But, to have them all in a row, that's how it's going to be. If we play the first 2 as non-conference, everything else is going to be conference.
Right. What would you say, and obviously, I mean, you guys played up the last week, and then you guys, for lack of a better word, played down this week. But certainly there was a common denominator in terms of effort. What do you think the common denominator in effort, or what do you think the common denominator in improvement came from?
I just think the effort. I think the confidence. I thought we had a great week of practice. Guys were prepared for this particular ball game. It was a game that we knew we had to win. We did not want to go down 0-2. We needed to win this game. It was our first game in front of our home crowd. Regardless of playing down, we played up the week before, and good football is good football. I thought Concordia had some very good football players. So it was one of those things where we just said we've got to go out and we've got to win us a football game regardless of who we're playing against. It was our first home game, And the guys rose to the occasion in practice, and they also did it in the game on Saturday.
Right.
Floor is still open for Arkansas Pine Bluff head coach Monte Coleman.
Coach, have you heard anything on Draylon?
On Draylon Willis? No.
Yes, sir.
Spoke to him last week, walking off the field on Friday. And he's supposed to have a doctor's appointment this week. He feels like he's ready to come back, so there's a good chance that he may make a return. Maybe not this week, but definitely maybe the next week against Jackson State.
Okay.
But it's a possibility. If the doctors release him, he could be ready to play. I don't think he'll be in football shape, though, to play against Alabama State. But it could be, from a medical standpoint, he could be released.
Gotcha.
Still taking questions for Monte Coleman, Arkansas Pine Bluff head coach. Coach, regardless of the opponent, you got to be pleased with posting a shutout, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that you look at as a coach, you look at the statistics and you rave and you want your offense, your defense to be ranked amongst the best. And with the number of points that we gave up the first game, to cost average them, if I could say that, you know, we needed a shutout to over 2 games now with 32 points per game opposed to more. So we needed that shutout. We had several guys to play well. DeMarcus Barry, our defensive end, played well. I thought he got the spark started on the defense. Overall, the defense only gave up 113 total offensive yards, which is huge for us. We had over 200 yards rushing on offense, with Ben Anderson leading us there along with Aaron LeGrone and Mike Wilson. So we did some good things, but I felt like we needed a shutout in that game, and the defense was able to rise to the occasion and get that for us.
As you get closer to your conference opener, you're aware of what Benjamin Anderson can give you, but how important is it for the skilled players around him to continue to make strides before you face Alabama State?
More important than what Ben does. We've got to get those guys involved a little bit more. Ben's got to, distribute the ball to the running backs on our run plays and throw the ball opposed to running himself. It's not our desire right now for Ben to run as much as he's running, but sometimes he's being flushed out of the pocket. But we've got to get the Hawthorns and the Willie Youngs and the Fergusons and the Porsches and people like that involved in our receiving game. And, of course, continue to have the success that we're having with our run attack with LeGrone and Wilson and Hantley.
Still got about a minute left for Monte Coleman, Arkansas Pine Bluff head coach. What's the most important thing you have to go through when you're talking about a bye week? What is the most important phase throughout that week, Coach?
I think the focus. You know, it's human nature when you know you're practicing, but you're not really practicing specifically for a game that weekend. You've got to keep them focused, and that'll be our challenge this week, is to make sure that we stay focused in everything that we do, even though we know that it's going to be a week off before we play. We're not a very veteran team. We've got a lot of young folks, but I feel like the coaching staff that we have, we can keep them focused this week. Taste of victory helps also, because now they know what they've got to do to stay focused to participate or to play hard in the next football game.
Coach Coleman, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. That's Monte Coleman, head football coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Again, his team defeated Concordia College this past Saturday. Week 3 here is a bye week for the Golden Lions. Next up on the call, there's a slight change due to extenuating circumstances just for this week only. As opposed to Broadrick Fobbs, we will now go to Texas Southern head coach Darrell Asbury. His team defeated Texas College this past Saturday. They will face Central State in the Bahamas in the HBCU Classic for 5 p.m. Central Time kickoff. Good morning, Coach Asbury. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your victory over Texas College this past Thursday, and you got one heck of a trip coming up this weekend. If you care to talk about that one, please.
Yes, we faced the Texas College team, and I guess the focus was for our guys just to be able to play for the level of football that we, as a coaching staff, know that we can play. I thought it was a concern for us all week in practice, coming on such a short turnaround. But we were able to, to maintain the focus and get the guys ready to play, once again. And, of course, we're going over to the Bahamas. And I guess the main focus now is making sure that we don't get caught up in the festivities before the game. And if we can keep our guys focused, I would like to do that.
All right, the floor is now open for Texas Southern head coach Darrell Asbury.
Coach Andrew Roberts here. Last week you had a short week, obviously playing on Sunday and then turning right back around on Thursday. This week you'll get the advantage of a few extra days rest. Just talk a little bit about your week of preparation.
Well, we actually gave the guys off on Saturday, Friday and Saturday. We were back in the weight room on Sunday, and we're off again today. So hopefully we'll get our legs back underneath us. We'll get back on our regular routine schedule for this upcoming game. And we'll practice twice on Wednesday, and, we'll leave out on Thursday, headed to the Bahamas. I think the biggest thing for our kids now is to stay focused and injury-free. If we can fortunate enough to play a good game this week here and come out of it healthy and get ready for our first conference play, second conference play at home.
Coach Asbury, Darrell, boys of the Tigers, when you talk about being healthy, how is Homer Cosby?
Homer's doing fine. This may be another game that I may hold him out again. He may say he probably will see limited action. Thinking about maybe a quarter. But the biggest thing for us right now is making sure that I can get him to conference play healthy. We would love for him to play against Central State, but if he cannot perform, at least 90%, 95%, then we won't put him out there.
Well, Coach, I'm sure you got to feel confident in Jamal Small and also Jay Kristoff, who put up some nice numbers, also got a touchdown. Seems like we're looking real good at the quarterback situation, first, second, and third string.
Yeah, those guys have been, they've been working extremely hard during training camp, but it just gives you a different feeling when you have Kazi out there that could be a dual threat. Small, he can flat out throw the football. I'm not going to take that away from him. But when you have, 2 good quarterbacks, you have a good problem. So, of course, we would like Homer Kazi to be healthy, but if he cannot be healthy, then we feel very confident that those 2 young men can lead the football team.
Also, Coach, when Texas College scored and they also took the lead, at some point when you called the timeout, what did you tell the team to get them back on track?
Well, I just told the team that, when you're coming off a tough opponent like Prairie, and you had to play with all you had, I say 9 times out of 10, it's kind of tough to get right back up for another one. And I did remind them, if they lose this one, no matter what you did against Prairie, it won't even matter if you lose this one against Texas College. And the kids decided they were going to play. I'm very proud of them, proud of my coaching staff. We need to clean that special teams up. I think that's the second punt been blocked since I've been here. So, and that's my team. The punt, that's my team I'm over. So it's a big concern when you get a punt block like that.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Andrew here again. Looking to your next opponent, Central State. Preview that for us a little bit and tell us a little bit about Central State.
Central State has a real good coaching staff over there with Pearl coming from A&M. That program is their Division II rules. I was in Division II for a long time, so I know the type of players that they can get, some of the players that we cannot get. But, we have to stay focused and, be prepared for any and everything. They're going to come at us with their best punches, and, we just need to take them and then try to do our best to not turn the football over and stop the run. They're a very solid football team. They're a very physical football team. So my biggest thing is just making sure our guys are lined up and disciplined and ready to play, eliminate the penalties, eliminate the turnovers, and clean the special teams up, and I think we'll be fine.
Still taking questions for Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern. Coach, how do you go about prepping your team for a trip like this? Obviously, it's not a bowl game; it's a regular season contest, and obviously one that you would like to win, of course. How do you get your team in the correct mindset when they're going to the?
Well, one thing about this football team here that I'm very proud to say that we have as a team, we collectively understand now that, okay, if coach is going to give us these 2 days off, then we need to come to work these next 4 days. So like I told the guys, we'll practice Thursday morning, and I told them I'll give you Thursday evening where you can kind of relax and get on the beach. And then Friday and Saturday, I need that day back. And then Saturday night after the game is over, then we all will enjoy it. These guys have really been able to respond to that. We still have our ups and downs like any other football team. But I've been very pleased with the structure and the discipline that these young men have matured into, and facing adversities. And I've been very pleased with that, but we still have a lot of football left to play.
Have any more questions for Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern? Coach, you were able to play a bunch of guys against Texas College. How important is that as you get further down in the season?
I think it's very important because of the lack of depth that we have with our football team. We got an opportunity to look at a lot of kids, especially on the offensive line. We were able to put in some guys that we signed, and I thought that was very important. And with our defensive line, because we're going to need those guys down the stretch. It's going to be a long, brutal season. We're talking about the good teams in the conference, with the Southerns and the Alcorns and Jackson, those physical football teams. So we really need to see what those guys could do under fire. And we got a real good look at those guys, and we were impressed. I understand it was Texas College, not taking anything away from them, but it just got those guys some game experience.
Coach Asbury, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us on the call. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's Texas Southern head coach Asbury. His team defeated Texas College this past Saturday, and they will face Central State this Saturday in the Bahamas. 5 p.m. Central is the kickoff time. Next up on the call is Alcorn State head coach Jay Hopson. His team fell short to Southern Miss by a score of 26-20 in Hattiesburg this past Saturday. This week, Jay Hopson and Alcorn will play host to Louisiana College for a 2 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Hopson. Are you with us?
Good morning, yes.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about that heartbreaking loss against Southern Miss and preview Louisiana College.
It's certainly, I think you said it best, it was a heartbreaking loss. Certainly had a chance there in the end to win it, and had a few turnovers, which certainly hurt us, and had some things that still kind of sit in your craw a little bit. But thought we had some opportunities maybe taken away. But at the end of the day, Southern Miss won the game, and our kids fought hard. And this week we played Louisiana College, which is a really good school, and they've had a consistently winning season. So we got to get ready to play.
That's Jay Hopson, head coach at Alcorn State. Coach, the floor is now open for Coach Hopson to take questions.
Coach Hopkins, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Yeah.
Last week you spoke on the importance on not only for Alcorn State but for SWAC teams to go out and fare well against these FBC opponents. And I know the win is always the major factor. What did you take away, and what did you tell your guys after the game on Saturday?
Well, it's hard because we went in there to win the game, and I mean, it's when you look at it Sunday, and I said this after the game on Sunday, I said I didn't want to make any statements until I watched the game film, and I think we're all, human beings, and I don't care if it's coaches, officials, or whoever, but, at the end of the day, I'm saying, you look at the film, and, I mean, there's a couple of deals in there. I mean, you can put me in my casket. I'll never believe that the touchdown in the second quarter was a touchdown. I mean, I thought the kid was out of bounds by a yard and a half, and we had a horse call on which I don't really agree with that call, you know what I'm saying, but it is a rule, and we got called on it early in the game, and we had a 2-point conversion going in. We were walking in the end zone where there's a flagrant horse collar that we didn't get, and so that's 9 points right there that's on the swing. We had a 4th down, and I guess it was at the end of the game we're going in to win the ball game, and our receivers hit 5 yards before the ball gets there, so those are things that's tough, as a football coach when you go back. And I thought we gave a winning effort. I thought we played hard. We still, we could have won despite that if we had held on to the football. We had 4 turnovers, but there's a lot of things, there's a lot of things in that game, and I'm just mentioning about half of them that certainly were game-changing moments. And, that makes it hard. It makes it hard for a coach and the kids, but I guess that's life and that's football. You got to press on, and after today, we'll quit talking about this game, and we'll move on to the, to the next one. But I thought, we certainly, we were doing our best to hold the banner up for the SWAC and go in there and try to win the FBS ball game, and we certainly had our chances, and certainly it's just been a tough game to swallow. It's just one of those games.
Now, Coach, you went in halftime on the road down 20-7, and when you look at the second half, you guys actually outscored your opponent 13-6, and you talked about the advantage or disadvantage, I should say, about being on the road, but you got to be pleased with your rushing game on Saturdays.
Yeah, we did some good things. I thought we did. We ran the ball well. We had a couple of, we could have really had a good game throwing the ball. We had a couple third down drops that we can't have. The only thing I wasn't pleased with in the rushing game, one time going in to score, we were deep inside the 10. We fumbled at one time, which that's something we can't do against a team we knew it'd be a hard-fought football game. We went in there with the intention of winning, and we thought we could win it, but it's a game that it was hard fought, and obviously we didn't do enough to get it done.
One more question from me, Coach. You get a chance to come back home, get some home cooking. Can you tell us a little bit about Louisiana College and what it's going to take for you guys to be successful?
Well, we just have to go to work and prepare to play against a really good football team, and
we got to get this one out of our system, and we got to move on to the next opponent. That's what you do in football, and that's what we have to do. So I mean, it's again a tough challenge. I think really impressed with Louisiana College. They're a high-scoring unit, and they've had a lot of success over the last few years. Dennis Nunn has done a really great job down there, so we know we got to get ready to play football.
Still got about 5 minutes left in this segment with Alcorn State head coach Jay Hopson. Coach, take us back to that last drive. I think you had the ball deep inside your territory. Revisit that last series for us, please.
Well, we had there's one we had, I think about 2 minutes ago, 2:50. We had a nice run to get us kind of into their territory to set it up, and again, we had a misexecution on third down with our formation, which kind of put us in we had a fumbled snap, and we didn't get lined up properly, so we wound up getting a 4th and long situation. And and like I said, I mean, there's things that you're going to constantly see on film that my eyes are going to see different necessarily but there was there was definitely contact with the receiver, but before the ball was there. But I guess they thought that it wasn't, or he was in a better position. But I thought it was pretty much a run through. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying, we didn't get that. We lost the game, and that's all there is to it. But we certainly had our chances to win it. We really did, and just came up short.
And after trailing and scoring 13 points alone in the fourth quarter, what did you learn about your team doing that against?
I think our team is. I think that there's a lot of heart and a lot of fight in our football team. I don't worry about that. I think they're going to come to play. It's it's just some of the things, and as a coach, some of the things when you watch it on film, you go back and. I'll tell you this, I have a great appreciation for Harold and his guys. They do a great job. I can tell you that right now. But it's you just watch some of the things on film, and it's you'd be lying if you said it's not hard to swallow. When you see things that like I said, it put me in my casket. I'll never believe that those plays were what they were. I mean, we had basically 9 points out there that is taken away, and then at the end of the day, there's some calls there at critical times that are difference maker plays, and so I mean, but in football, we're not the first team that's had that happen. We're not going to be the last, and at the end of the day, we just got to get over it and move on to the next game.
Still got a minute or so left for Jay Hopson, head coach at Alcorn State.
Coach, this is Mike Prince again, and I just got to ask this question because I'm hearing the frustration in your voice right now.
Correct. That'd be a fair assessment, Mike.
Yes, sir. Well,
that's right.
And this is
right.
I guess a matter of personal opinion. Do you think that part of these calls was due to maybe a disrespect for the league, or to try to keep things in a check and balance when it's a game close enough like that, or because it appears that some things were pretty blatant? And do you assess that as a sign of total disrespect?
Well, I can't, it's hard, but you can't speak for somebody else or anybody's actions or opinion. But the thing that is just, from a coaching standpoint, the thing that's tough is just when you like I said, I mean the fade in the end zone, I'll never, there's no way anybody could ever physically show. I framed that. I probably sat for an hour on Sunday morning, just looking at frame by frame, you know what I'm saying, to make sure before I even spoke that the ball was not possessed, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, there's just a lot of things there. And again, we knew this would be a hard-fought game. we knew Southern Miss was a quality opponent. You know what I'm saying? We knew that going in. We knew this was going to be a fourth-quarter game. And, you know, I mean, it was just, you know, at the end of the day, it was a game. And, again, we made some mistakes that we could have overcome it with those things happening. But those few things certainly were tough things for us to overcome, you know. And that's just football. Like I said, it's happened before. It'll happen again. But, you know, it's just tough. It's tough on Sunday for a coach when you sit there and look at the film and you're like, man, you know, 6 or 7 times, you know. I mean, that's tough. I mean, it is, and there's no coach that's ever coached that hadn't felt that same frustration. But I thought we gave a winning effort, but we do have to execute better. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we got to just move on, and after today, we've got to get this game out of our system and move on to the next.
We're out of time, Coach. I appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That's Jay Hopson, Alcorn State head coach. They will face Louisiana College at 2 p.m. Next up on the call, we now move to Mississippi Valley State and talk things over with Rick Comegey. His team defeated Illinois State 62-0. They'll travel to Montgomery and face Alabama State Saturday at 5 p.m. Good morning, Coach Comegey. Are you with us?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Just fine, Coach. Thanks for joining us. If you could talk about your falling to Illinois State, and preview Alabama State.
Okay, well, you know, there's really nothing more I can say except we just took an old-fashioned butt kicking, and, you know, they executed well, and we didn't execute. We got very little momentum changes in the game in order to get into the game. I'm not going to, you know, say it was jitters or anything of that nature. You know, they just was, in that night, they were a better football team than we were, and, you know, and they took it to us. You know, their execution was on time. While we weren't executing, they were, and they were moving the ball. They were looked like they beat us in the trenches, and you know, we just took an old-fashioned beating.
Floor is open for
as far as Alabama State is concerned coming up. You know, we know they're going to be a tough football team, a tough team to beat. You know, it's on their home turf, and you know, coaches down there do a fantastic job. They got a good front seven on that defense, and they move the ball well offensively. They're very creative on what they think they do, and they got good athletes. And, you know, we got to go down there prepared and be a better football team than we were last week. And you know, it's a conference game, our first conference game, and so it's on our side of the charts. And so we're hoping to get these guys ready, and I believe they will be prepared. I think we kind of needed that game last week. You know, coming off our first game, which was more of a, you know, kind of a scrimmage type, you know, opponent for us to try to see where we were, and then we step up to a higher level, and now we can see the mistakes, see some of the things, and see who are our warriors. And I think now that it's going to make us a better football team. And so I'm really looking forward to the challenge and going down there and playing this game. And but I know they're a good, solid football team to pick to win it. And so, you know, what better time to go in and maybe see if you can upset the guys on top. And so, you know, I'm looking forward to it, and I think our kids are.
The floor is now open for Rick Comegey, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. Coach, I noticed you played 4 quarterbacks. Was it due to the fact just trying to find somebody that could provide a spark or rhythm for you?
Well, you know, we wanted to make some final decisions. Also, it helped us make some final decisions on you know, guys, you know, that may be griping that they didn't get an opportunity, and what a time to do it. And you know, up there was a good time to see who could play under that type of pressure, what type of guys, you know, who were the men. I guess I said warriors, and you know, that's, you know, again, that's my comment. So we wanted to find out who we had, who could stand up and play. You know, it's easy to go up against just anybody and come up with a score, you know, that, you know, is unimaginable. But when you play an opponent, you want to see where you stand. And I think it let us figure some things out as coaches and made our players understand, you know, what it takes to win football games and the type of play they have to play in order to be a contender.
Reggie Barlow always speaks highly of you, Coach, from your days at Tuskegee to Jackson State and now at Mississippi Valley. What do you expect from a Reggie Barlow coach football team on the road?
Well, Reggie Barlow's a highly intense guy when it comes to the game. His team is highly intense. He's no nonsense when it comes to the game of football, and I respect him at the utmost. He's always been a guy that's been very courteous to me, and I hope I've done the same with him. And we just been there as two guys who, love the game and, want to see the kids the best for the players. And so, Reggie wants the same thing as a lot of the guys in the conference do. He's got a great personality, and I think the kids want to play for him. And so, I have a lot of admiration for him as well.
The floor is still open for Rick Comegey, head coach at Mississippi Valley State. Coach, the last time you were there, you defeated an Alabama State, obviously with a different team by a field goal. How important is it to get off on a good start early in that environment?
Well, it's always nice to go on the road and get a win and come back home with it. It's the greatest thing in the world, and we just gotta work hard for it. It's extremely hard to win football games. I don't know about the other guys who are winning, but all my life it's always been everything that you got. You sleep after the game, and so, but that's the way it is. But to go down and grab one in the East, and and I mean, steal it or how we get it, it's always the greatest feeling in the world. I know we're facing an opponent that just beat Tennessee State, and you just don't beat Tennessee State, every day, unless there's a change down there that I don't know about. But I know that he took that team in there and played some solid ball, and those guys probably were consistent in what they did, and a regular Reggie Barlow team, going in there fighting and playing the game that should be played. And so I'm really happy for Reggie, and it was a team that I was struggling with while there, and Reggie Barlow comes in there and knocks them down, and I'm really happy for him, and it says a lot about the SWAC and where we're going.
So got about 2 minutes left in the segment with Rick Comegey, head coach at Mississippi Valley State. Can you expect this to be running back by committee, or do you have one guy that you're going to lean towards in terms of pounding the rock for you running the football?
Well, we're looking at making some changes. We got some changes in mind on how we want to approach things now. And, it's given us an idea of who our football, what our football team's all about and who should be getting touches. And so, no, we're not going to be a whole committee type team. We're going to go ahead and settle in on one team and kind of do what we do and just let that hang out there. We're not going to make a whole lot of changes wholesale, trying to get all wild and crazy now. We got to put a team together and do what we do, and that's it. If that's not good enough, then it's not good enough.
And you're aware of what Julian Stafford can do. What are some other guys from the receiving corps that can provide a spark for you?
Well, I think, we got some guys, that can play. I think, Jerry Rice's nephew is coming on real strong for us and, doing a good job. And, we got some other receivers that we just got the ball in their hands. And, right now, in order for them to run better routes, we got a couple guys that we just, brought, got eligible that will be back next week and, being on the, getting on the boards. And so, we're hoping to have more speed on the outside and be able to do more things and match up with other teams' speed a little bit better than what we did last week.
Do we have any more questions for Rick Comegey, Mississippi Valley State head coach? Coach Comegey, thanks for your time. We look forward to talking to you next Monday.
Well, I appreciate you, too. Thank you very much.
Wow. That's Rick Comegey, head football coach at Mississippi Valley State. Again, his team travels to Montgomery for a 5 p.m. kickoff with Alabama State this coming Saturday. Next up, we go to Prairie View A&M and talk things over with Heishma Northern, head football coach there. Prairie View had a bye week in week 2. Here in week 3, they face McNeese State, 6 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Northern. Are you with us?
Yes, sir, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Thanks for joining us. If you could talk about some of the things you guys worked over your bye week and preview McNeese.
Well, we did have a bye week. Sort of fortunately for us, it can't say it came at a better time, but we did need to get some things cleaned up. We did a good bit of live work. We started preparation for McNeese State a few days early on Thursday. You know, we have to take an extra day off because of some APR penalties, which does help get ready for what they do on offense. We had a chance to sit down on Saturday. Their game was played on national TV. Quite a few of the guys got together and watched the game. A few of them, came by, the house and were told to sort of watch the game as coaches. Don't watch it as fans. Take notes, and they have to do scouting reports for us based off what they saw. What they have been seeing in practice is that what we saw, and we saw a few little differences, a few different plays that they had been running, and now, like I say, we have a couple of days of practice left before we go to Lake Charles and face a real good team. Played well against Nebraska, and we have to go over there ready to play. Like I told our guys, we have nothing to lose in this situation. We want to go represent ourselves well, and we want to go win the ball game. We don't want to just play well because playing well does not make you feel any better. You can talk to the McNeese coach about playing well against Nebraska. You can talk to Coach Hopson and his staff and his players about playing well against Southern Miss. That feeling feels no better because you played well. The ultimate goal is to win the game, and that's what we're preparing to do this weekend.
Floor is now open for Heishma Northern, head coach at Prairie View A&M.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
All right. Look, you said you had the team and the coaches out assessing, and there's no doubt that McNeese State played, I guess, better than expected by most. Did you find any chinks in the armor that you could use to your advantage that you may not were able to notice before during this game?
Well, I would say their quarterbacks may not have passed the ball, or there were some drops involved as well that, maybe you would, I'm pretty sure they would have expected better as well as we would have. But at the end of the day, they're going to do what they do and try to do it better than you can stop it. So it's going to boil down to execution. We're going to have to tackle extremely well in space and in tight spaces. So those are some things that we worked on. We went live probably more than we did in training camp within the last week. We practiced in the gym floor and went live in the gym for a few reps. So it's about developing a tough mentality that, hey, we're going to have to play physical. But other than that, like I say, we saw what we thought we were going to see, and we had to get prepared to stop what they do best, make them beat us left-handed. That's our ultimate goal if they do. But like I say, we're going to win the football game. We're going to Lake Charles with a mindset that we're going to play to win. We're not going to play not to lose. We're going to play to win a football game.
All right, Coach, and can you give us an update on the injury status for your team?
Well, we had another young man that we lost for the season, Jacoby Anderson, who had started at wide receiver for us, but because he broke his hand, we moved him to defensive back. He was our top nickel back, and lo and behold, he tears his ACL, so he'll be out for the rest of the season. But like I say, we're not going to cancel any games because 1 or 2 or 3 starters are not any longer with us. We're going to play, get the next man up, and go into the next ball game, getting guys prepared to do a job. If you play football for Prairie View A&M University, we look at it like you have a job to do. You have a responsibility to those other 10 men that you're on the field with at one time and the other 95 guys in the program. You have a responsibility to do your job for those other guys.
All right, Coach, and also you had some time to go back and reflect and get ready for this game and to refocus, if you will, on the other 9 games. As you said, you couldn't let Texas Southern beat you twice. What were you able to pull out and get a chance to get you guys ready for this upcoming game?
Just some of the penalties that we had. A couple of personal fouls that we had in the first ball game, the turnovers that we had, and we just talked about, do I think we have a good ball club? Yes. Do I think we're not that talented to where we can afford to beat ourselves? So we talked about, the things that we have to do as Prairie View A&M University football team to win games. Then I brought up to him yesterday, how do we, Prairie View A&M University, beat a McNeese State ball club? Or how does any team beat a team that no one thinks that you can beat? And like I say, it's a simple formula. You have to outrush them. You have to win the turnover battle. You have to keep your penalties down. I think if we can keep our penalties down to 5 or less, we'll be successful. Third down conversion is going to be big. And our red zone offense and defense, can we score touchdowns instead of field goals? And then, like I said, the turnover margin is going to be very important, as well as can you get a defensive score or a special team score. When you get that single stat alone raises your chances of winning by a whole lot. So that's what we talk to our guys about, focusing on, keeping the penalties down, being able to run the ball, stop the run, getting a defensive score or a special team score, not letting them get one, because they're going to think a block punt is the biggest momentum changer in football, and I'm pretty sure they're going to try to come after some of our punts. So we've been working extra on making sure we don't get in punts blocked to get that big momentum swing.
Now, Coach, you also have one of the top-ranked quarterbacks throughout the conference and everything, and you said you had a chance to talk to him to reevaluate some things. Another big game coming up. What have you discussed with Lovelock to get prepared mentally for this game?
Just the small things. Concentrate on his footwork. Don't try to do everything with your arm. He is banged up, but the biggest thing is just his footwork and taking what the defense gives him and slow down his reads a little bit. I think he rushed some reads against Texas Southern, and then we had to clean up our pocket. There were some instances where we thought had he had a cleaner pocket, he would have completed some more passes. So we got to keep that pocket clean. He can run the ball, but he's not going to kill you. He can hurt you, but he's not going to kill you by him running the ball. So we want a clean pocket for him. We're going to do some things to help him out as well as a coaching staff.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot for your time, sir.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
The floor is still open for Prairie View A&M head coach. About 2 minutes left in his segment. Coach, give us your thoughts there when you're watching McNeese and Nebraska play, and if Abdullah doesn't make that run, they're in some pretty deep trouble, you would think, with McNeese. What are you sitting there thinking, knowing that you have them the next week?
To be honest with you, I was hoping McNeese won the game. Make no doubt about it, I was hoping that they won, because I think one thing that people or fans or supporters don't realize is how hard it is to get a group of 18 to 20-year-olds refocused when you win a game that only those guys that went to Lincoln thought they could win. And I was pulling for them. I told my team that when we were sitting at the house watching the game. I told the players that I was pulling for McNeese, because getting some guys refocused is not the easiest thing in the world. And like I say, we're going in, we playing with house money. Nobody thinks that we have a chance to win this football game. But at the end of the day, we haven't played McNeese yet, so nobody knows what's going to happen. So, I was pulling for the underdog. I was pulling for McNeese just for the simple refocus factor. But at the end of the day, we got to go to Lake Charles with our mindset to go to win, not to lose, or just go to play a football game. That's not our objective.
Coach Northern, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Coach Northern from Prairie View A&M. Again, his team faces McNeese State at 6 p.m. this coming Saturday on the road. Next up on the call, we migrate to Baton Rouge and Southern University with head coach Dawson Odums. His team defeated Central Methodist 56-14. They'll host Northwestern State this Saturday at 6 p.m. Good morning, Coach Odums. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. You talk about your victory over Central Methodist and preview Northwestern State this Saturday.
Well, yeah, we got off to a good start, a fast start. You know, we pretty much, you know, we took care of business, and that's really what the main goal was to lead no doubt, go out, take care of business, take care of the football, you know, tackle well, block well, and get a victory. We ran the ball with some consistency. I think everybody got a chance to see our running backs, our two young quarterbacks, again, got a chance to get another game under their belt. Shorts played much better. Austin, once he threw an interception, but he regrouped and refocused, and he began to play better. So getting those young guys a lot of reps. We got a lot of young players, some reps. We got a lot of young players that are playing, and we're keeping it simple for them and just allowing these guys to play fast, and they got another opportunity to do that against Central Methodist. We play against probably one of the more complete football teams that we played this year. Northwestern to come to town. We got them at home. Last year they handed it to us, but they got a good quarterback. They got some very good running backs, a very decent offensive line. Defensively, they're physical. They got a couple of defensive tackles that are hard to move in the middle, a couple of linebackers that run very well, and a decent secondary. So, you know, it's going to be a challenge for us, but we're excited about the opportunity of playing them at home. You know, trying to develop some pride at home, trying to, you know, develop an attitude at home, and we're glad to welcome them to our stadium.
The floor is now open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University.
Hey, Coach, it's Les East. You mentioned after the game the other night that you expected your players wouldn't have any trouble focusing Saturday because of the score last year. Do you have to address the comments last year that Northwestern State said got it fired up, or do you think that message was delivered after the game last year?
Well, yeah, it's a different team. I don't think we'll have any guys making any kind of statements like that. You know, each year we graduate players. Our character is continuing to get better because of the young men that we're bringing in. You know, we learn from it. They learn from it as players. We all make mistakes. But this year is a different hand being dealt, and we go play the hand that we have.
Now, how did the use of Brian McCain at linebacker come about? Whose idea was that?
Well, I think, you know, he's one of our team captains. He's one of the better football players on our team. He was playing some fullback. You know, I thought we could get him some more reps playing outside linebacker. He's going to continue to work at both. You know, we're trying to put players in position to win football games. You know, there's no rule that says they have to go one way. You know, I'm an old school coach, and if I got a player that I think can help either side of the ball, we're going to find a way to get that player out there. You know, we're not too proudful around here when it comes to winning. We just try to put players in a position to get them ready to play, and sometimes you might have a guy on offense that can help you on defense. You might have a guy on defense that can help you on offense. We just try to put players on the field and give them a chance to make a play.
Floor is still open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University.
Is there anybody else you're looking at that might be able to play on both sides of the ball?
Not right offhand, but I'm quite sure we have some guys that could do it. Just depends on, you know, what we have at that position or what the position needs. You just never know what the season deal you. You know, you can be playing, you can have depth, and then all of a sudden injuries start hitting you. You gotta make a decision. You know, they're not gonna cancel the game because one or two guys go down. So you gotta always be thinking ahead as a coach and always see certain moves. And that's why I tell people this is a game of chess. It's not checkers. So you gotta always be ahead of your opponent, and we try to make sure that we give our team the best chance to win by staying ahead.
Coach, you had a pair of backs to rush over 100 yards. Talk about that feeling. A lot of guys got time carrying the ball this past weekend for you.
Well, exactly. It's one of the deepest positions on our team, and we were happy to see those guys get carries. Tyree Bracken had, he was over 100. Malcolm Crockett, his first game, he was over 100. I know we got running backs and we got receivers. So people are going to have to decide how they want to defend us. And, and I think it's a great plus for us that we can stretch the field vertically in the passing game and we can run the football. And as we continue to get better at running the football, it's going to take a lot of pressure off our young quarterbacks. And if teams try to load the box up to stop the run, then you got to deal with the likes of Reggie Travis, Willie Quinn, and several other wide receivers. We had Justin Morgan got a touchdown. We got 3 tight ends that can stretch the field vertically. So there's a lot of talent over there, and I take my hat off to those guys and how well they get those guys in position to make plays.
Please use the command *6 to mute your phone if you're not asking questions. Thank you. Floor is still open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. Coach, you talked about the last time out facing McNeese. Anything different that you guys, any different approach when you play them this year?
They'll be in, Northwestern will be in, it's real similar. I think the difference is what we're doing defensively and what we're doing offensively and the number of players that we have coming back that experienced that loss. I think it's a difference in year 2 of mindset, getting yourself to a point of a place where you can be free of mind on game day. I think we're doing some things in our program to really help our guys get better. We're doing things in our program that says, it's game day and that's all you should be worried about. So we really work on the mindset, man. We spend a lot of time trying to develop the mindset so that these guys can make the right decisions. And I think last year when we went up there, it was an unknown territory for us, and it was a hot day. I think it was about 117 degrees on field turf. So I think this year we have a different mindset of just getting these guys on the same page and understanding that we're at home and we got to take pride in defending our home stadium. So I think it's just mindset. I think it's some of the same guys that experienced that loss, but they're excited about getting the opportunity again.
Do we have any more questions for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University?
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned earlier how y'all are playing a lot of young players, and several of those young players are at linebacker and defensive back. Can you just talk about some of the young guys who have gotten into the mix on the back end?
Well, exactly. You just never know. Now, you never know what they're thinking when the ball snaps, but, they make mistakes, but, I was just talking to the staff today, man. We coach extremely hard Monday through Thursday, and we get on them and we challenge them, but we show them more love on Friday and Saturday than you could ever imagine. At the end of the day, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to go back in the game, so we don't discourage them when they make mistakes. Hey, we got to live on, we got to play the next play, and that's really been the big motto around here with the young guys. They understand that Monday through Thursday, you go get coached extremely hard. But on Friday, coach is going to free your mind up so that you can concentrate on what you need to do. And they hope that Monday through Thursday have prepared you a way so that you can go out on Saturday and be successful. We play a lot of young guys, a lot of true freshmen. But that's what you recruit them for. I mean, why spend all that money in recruiting to bring guys in to redshirt them? Here we bring them in to play. That's what we tell them. You're going to play when you come here, and it's great to see some of these guys accept that challenge and get themselves ready to play. And that's what we're excited about, having them on the field, and they all can play. So we're excited about that.
Thanks.
Coach Odums, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. We will talk to you next Monday.
Well, thank you all for having me. Take care.
Thanks. Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. His team faces Northwestern State, that is, at 6 p.m. on the road. Next up on the call is Grambling State head football coach Broadrick Fobbs. His team was defeated at Houston. This week they will travel and face Bethune-Cookman for a 3 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Fobbs. Are you with us?
Good morning. How you doing?
Just fine, Coach. Thanks for asking. If you could preview Bethune and talk a little bit about your game this past Saturday at Houston.
Well, this past weekend at the University of Houston, it was a very, very tough opponent, very explosive offense, and a very, very good defense. Coach Levine does a great job of coaching his kids, and he has a lot of quality talent on the team. But I was very disappointed in our performance this weekend, more so with the way we played, the penalties and then the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that we had is something that we thought we overcome, but we seem to have regressed and went back to doing things that we originally thought we had gotten away from. So I was kind of disappointed in the fact that we took a little bit of step backwards, but I still believe in this football team. I think we have some quality players on this team, and they understand the mistakes that they made, and they understand in order for us to be successful, we got to stop doing things to hurt ourselves. So in that fact, there's always good to learn from looking at a film like that. I don't believe in throwing film away. I think it's important that we take a look at the mistakes and look at where we went wrong to learn from them. But the most important thing is to learn from it. So I think we're on the right track. We just got to continue to press and continue to focus on doing things the right way. Bethune-Cookman is a exceptional program. Coach Brian Jenkins has done a great job in developing and recruiting great talent, and also have great coaches on his staff. Very, very fast and explosive offense, and then also defensively they're very, very fast as well. They're number one team in black college football, so it's going to be another tough opponent in which we're facing, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Thank you very much, Coach Fobbs. The floor is now open for Broadrick Fobbs, head coach, Grambling State. Coach, what is the most significant improvement you're seeking here in week 3?
Well, I think the most important thing for us right now is to play mistake-free football, to cut down on the penalties, and then cut down on the mistakes that we're making after the whistle blows and before the snap count. So that's something that we're working on tremendously. That's something that we've always worked on, but we got to put more emphasis on it, obviously. So that's the focus, is make sure we play mistake-free football, because we believe if we play mistake-free, we can be in the contest.
Seems as if your output defensively was a little better toward the second half. Gave up 6 points in the third and only 7 in the fourth. Were you pleased with the effort late in the game? Did things start to get better for you defensively?
Well, I'm always pleased with the effort of our defense. Really, the whole team in the first 2 games. We play extremely hard, and our kids have bought into understanding how we want to play football. But that does not excuse the mistakes and the penalties, and that's what's hurting us right now, and we have to get better at it. I thought defensively the only reason that they scored in the fourth quarter was because we turned the ball over offensively. So we had a good 4-down stand in the fourth quarter, and we kept them out of the end zone, but then we gave it right back to them and turned it over inside our own 10-yard line, which allowed them to get in the end zone. And that was an offensive touchdown more so than our defense being scored on. So I'm very, very pleased with our defense. I think they're playing extremely hard, and they're playing extremely well. But same deal defensively as offensively. We gotta get away from the penalties and the mistakes.
The floor is still open for Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State. Chester Rogers had to be a positive spark for you, Coach. 4 catches, 85 yards, had a deep ball or a deep one for 55 yards as well.
Yes, Chester, he kind of started off a little rocky in week 1, but he's kind of come on a little bit here in week 2, and I think we've kind of got this quarterback situation solidified, and we think that we're going to be able to throw the football as well as run the football, but we just got to continue to put things together because we're taking a team that was a 21 personnel 2-back team, and all of a sudden now we're spreading them out, and that's a little different. So things are it's gonna be a little shift for everyone involved, for the quarterbacks, the O-line, running backs, and receivers also.
What can you expect out of a Bethune coach football team historically, Coach?
Well, I tell you one thing I know for a fact, they're going to be very, very disciplined. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. They're not going to beat themselves, and then they have great speed. They fly around the ball defensively and make plays and are very, very physical defense, but then also offensively, they do the same. They are what we want to become, and that's what we're striving to do, be a fast-paced offense and also a fast physical defense and not beat yourself. And I really, really commend Coach Jenkins on the job that he's done at Bethune-Cookman, and look forward to seeing him when I get down there.